Hello and welcome everyone to another Birds of Essex. What month is this, Steve?
April?
May, June? I'm not sure.
No idea.
I think we're in May, aren't we?
I think so. Unless there's been some sort of time warp and
we don't even know which country you're in, do you?
No. I've no idea what day of the week it is, to be honest with you. So,
how have you been anyway?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Yeah, a bit busy, but yeah, really good, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yes, you too. Yeah, we'll have to meet up in person sometime soon. You're jetting around the world and looking at all these magnificent birds and doing your job. So I'm glad you are, actually. I mean, it must be good after the last couple of years to be able to actually be busy again. So yeah, no, that's really good. But it'd be nice to see you in Essex at some point in the near future, hopefully.
Yeah, literally, I'd love to get out like local birding. I did pop out for an hour today. So
okay, where'd you go?
Just on the local patch. So
nice.
Anything
good?
Just the usual stuff, really. Yeah, no, it's just nice to get out, you know.
Anyway, I think there might be people watching, so should we say hello?
Yeah.
Who's watching? We've got Brian Cox, Richard Chew. Who's John Peacock? I don't know him.
John Peacock? No.
Is that
Cobra 66?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Hello, John. Hi, John. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. So as always, if anyone wants to contact us, of course you can do so in the chat, which you're already doing. Don't forget, you just got to be logged into your YouTube account to be able to use the chat box. Or alternatively, if you would prefer, if I can get it on the screen, there we go. You can send an email in to ebwstalks@gmail.com. And we've got that open in the background, so we'll be monitoring that as the show progresses. It's not just questions or comments. If you've got any pictures that you've taken recently, anything that you've seen or want to share, please send them in on the email. And if I can work out how to do it, we'll try and get them on the screen. And if we can't, then we'll try and get something else on the screen. But either way, I'm sure it will be good. Let's get rid of that. So what are we going to be talking about tonight, Steve?
Oh, crikey. Well, we've got lots of stuff to talk about tonight because, you know, it's amazing where the last month's gone. So, because, yeah, last month's show was a good one. But, yeah, so I'm just trying to read my notes here now.
Hang on. Do you want this?
Yeah, do you know what I do? I need to bring my binoculars in to read the...
Terrible. For anyone that doesn't know, right, we've got piles of stuff like paperwork for tonight, and it's all prepared and printed, and it's all printed out on a run sheet, and it's a little bit too small for both of us. So I'm sitting here with like a magnifying glass from Poundland, trying to use this to read this sheet. So you'll have to excuse me. And I think, Steve, you've got some kind of contraption there as well, haven't you? So
yeah, I've got this like copy board thing that got it on, but the type's so small that I have to sit further and further back to read it.
Anyway, I think we've got the photo competition still up and running, isn't it? Just for the next half hour or so.
Yep.
So how can people vote on that?
So yeah, you can vote on our Twitter page, which is at EBWS Tweets, or on our Facebook page. So Essex Birdwatching Society Facebook page. There's 4 fantastic photographs that are in the final. So
okay.
Hopefully Matt will now be. There we go. So there's the 4 pictures on our Twitter page. So we've got a lovely picture of a nuthatch, a singing wren. There's a bit of a, oh, well done, that's better, Matt. Almost professional, this is. Yep, singing wren. We've got a bit of a squabble between a goldfinch and a chaffinch. And then last but not least, we've got a great tip sort of with picking up nesting material. So 4 cracking photographs. So yeah, you've got 25 minutes more to vote. Or left to vote, sorry.
Yeah, and you can vote on Twitter, as Steve said, or you can vote on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, or send an email voting, ebwsphotos@gmail.com. Or to be fair, if it's easier, use the first one that we put up, the EBWS Talks. But either way, I think there's about 4 votes separate the top 3 photos at the moment, isn't there? So
right, yeah.
And
yeah. Get voting if you haven't already voted. So yeah,
please do. And the last 2 competitions, we printed out a picture, and I've actually driven because both the winners have been close. So I've driven and presented the picture. So ideally, whoever lives closest to me out of those 4 pictures, that's the one I want to win. Okay, because I haven't got to drive as far. I'm thinking about my carbon footprint, of course.
Of course, yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Well, what else? What's next? So we're doing a patch tick feature, aren't we? Just a bit of fun, really.
Yes. Yeah, so we really want you to let us know what's your best self-found patch ticks. So, you know, what bird have you got most enjoyment out of finding on your local patch? So it doesn't always have to be something rare. It can be just something common that has turned up. But I'm sure we've all got a good self-found patch tick somewhere along the line. So yeah,
I'm sure you've got loads. Go on, tell us yours.
Well, to be fair, I found a couple of good sort of birds over the years in Essex. Whiskered tern. Nice. These are all years ago, to be honest. I'm a bit out of touch, but yeah, whiskered tern I found, which I think was the second for Essex. And
where was that? Was that Aberton? Yep.
Yeah, in July 1993. So that was a long time ago.
That's before I was born, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, you were probably along the causeway in a pushchair, mate. And then I found a Pacific golden plover at Old Hall.
Oh, very nice.
Years later, but we were having a chat about this the other night, weren't we? And I was saying that, you know, in lockdown, just birding the local patch, like my Copford patch here, great crested grebe I found on a little pond. That was as good as finding a rarity.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm similar, really. Obviously, I've not been doing it as long as yourself, and I still don't know what half the things are. But I've found just on my local patch at Ardley, I'm not quite that bad. I've found a couple of things, and I've got some really rubbish record shots. But you know what? I was as made up to find these birds on my local patch as I was to go and twitch the bearded vulture, 3 years ago, whenever that was, and. I mean, that's a wheat ear that kind of landed in the top of a tree at Ardley, and I've never seen one there before or since. Then the world's worst, that was taken through my binoculars with my phone, but the world's worst photograph of a common scoter, female common scoter. But again, didn't expect to see that on the reservoir, and I had to do a bit of a double take at the time. And then probably my best one was over the last month, which we were actually on our way home, Tina and I, and we driving past one of the fields at Ardley, and I just slowed down, gap in the hedge, no traffic around, just looked up the field. There was 4 or 5 blackbirds hopping around, and one of them looked like it had a white mark on it. And so luckily I had the bings on the front seat and managed to spot a nice ring ouzel, which was quite pleasing. So just those birds, nothing particularly unusual. They're nothing as good as a whiskered tern, but you know, you find something that you haven't seen in your patch before, and it's really good fun. So what have people found that's made them smile or given them the most enjoyment, like Steve said, on their local patch? And if you can share that on the chat or the emails, that'd be really good to know. And we've already had one email, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had we had an email from David Smith in Whittam, and he obviously received our MailChimp. So because Matt's really good and sends out a reminder about these shows to everyone on the mailing list. And David Smith said he had to think hard about his most memorable patch tick. Obviously, probably because he's getting a bit older, but it's another story. But he said he has 1 or 2 memorable birds, both in different locations. So yeah, at Wetmead in Whittam. So it's a small little nature reserve on the edge of Whittam. And he found a pied flycatcher there in August 2016.
And if I just click my mouse.
Oh, there you go, almost professional. And there's a picture of it. Look at that, it's good.
That's a lovely picture, actually.
I can't even say it now. I can't even say it. A shrubby hedgerow. I have less vodka in this glass, mate.
Was that shrubby or scrubby?
That was a shrubby hedgerow. Right.
Okay.
So that was by the River Brain, and then the following day. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got to read this again. And then he's also found spotted flycatchers. Very nice. In his local patch.
That's a really smart bird, isn't it? And again, I mean, I'd absolutely love to find something like that on local patch. So yeah, like we're saying, then it doesn't have to be unusual. It's just what's made you smile, what's made you surprised.
Yep.
You know, I was saying to Steve, we did a prep session a couple of nights ago for this, and I said, would you sooner find, I can't remember what the example I gave of an exotic, there was I said a honey buzzard. Would you sooner find a honey buzzard flapping over Abberton Reservoir, or would you sooner have a Mediterranean gull land in your garden?
Well, that was obviously going to be a no-brainer, wasn't it? I mean,
but you know what I mean? Yeah, it's what, yeah, it's what makes you smile.
Down on the med gull front, you know, back on the local patch, you know, I found like 2 or 3 med gulls. One, I think it was like last April or something when we were in lockdown, and it was like I'd won the lottery. You know, it was like, you know, it just goes to show put a lot of time in, you will find stuff on your local patch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right, we've got a lot of people saying hello. So who else have we had to say hello? We had Ron Firming, Mo Jackson. Hi, Mo. Mel's watching, and speaking of the devil, David Smith.
Oh, there you go. He's Devil says good evening all, and what we got? So yeah, John Peacock's messaged in. He finally managed to see and photograph the turtle doves at Rabness early on Saturday morning. He's just got to upload his pictures onto his laptop, so that would be nice to see those sometime.
Excellent.
And what else?
And Richard Jew, best self-found local patch tick. No contest, a stunning male pie fly catcher on the 13th of April 2021 around St Nicholas Church in Langdon.
Good. I mean, so
very nice.
Spring pied fly catches in Essex are as rare as hen's teeth, really. You know, they're so that's a really good find.
Oh, superb. Right, we're going to talk about puffers, aren't we?
We are. So another what's the word? Viewer participation is we want to know. We're talking about cleaning our optics, and we want to know what you use to clean your optics. And you know, is there any particular sort of gadgets you use, or anything, so to speak, anything special?
And about 5 minutes ago, we were laughing our heads off, weren't we? Because we'd only briefly mentioned this, and we hadn't actually discussed what we use ourselves. And literally 5 minutes before the show, I said to Steve, have you got your cleaning stuff? And he said, yeah. Have you got yours? And I said, yeah. And we both went like this. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
2, 1. Literally, we both got the same stuff.
Exactly the same stuff that we use.
Even exactly the same puffer. I mean,
yeah. Amazing. That's so funny. Anyway, so the reason we're doing this is kind of sort of slightly serious. I'm sure we don't need to, you know, teach people how to suck eggs or anything, but there is kind of a wrong way of cleaning your optics if you're not careful. So if you've got dirt on your binoculars or your camera lens, and you were to sort of, you know, blow on it and rub it with your t-shirt, which I'm sure we've all done, what effectively you're doing is that the mist or the moisture from your breath is going to be sticking whatever's on the lens to the lens, and then you're going to be grinding it into the lens with your t-shirt. And that's why sometimes you can look at your lens in the light after a couple of years, and you'll see all these light surface marks. And they don't really do any damage, but it doesn't look great. And if you've got a bit of grit on there, you could do some damage. So Steve is now going to tell us exactly how he cleans his binoculars.
Well, to be fair, it'd be really handy if I had my binoculars with me, but they're not here at the minute. But yeah, so yeah.
Do you want to do it on mine?
I'll do it on yours. So just unscrew the. Yeah, so lucky. I mean, Matt and I both got Swarovski, so we're very lucky with Swarovski, and I'm sure other optical binoculars are the same. But you can unscrew the eye cups.
Yep.
The eye cups come unscrew, and again, I just get my blower brush and give it a. That's exactly just to loosen it. And also, certainly with our Swarovskis, sometimes just running them under a tap can just loosen the you know, if there's any grit or anything.
Yeah.
They are waterproof, so you can give them a rinse if they get gritty or especially sand. Sand's the worst. Sand and salt spray is probably the worst stuff for optics.
It can get in all the little nooks and crannies, can't it?
Yeah. But the blower brush just loosens, you know, just blows that away. And then I've got a very large lens cloth here, which is very handy. It's also good for cleaning your glasses. And then we've got these little, I think these came with the binoculars, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
A little, tiny little, if I can get the lid off, a little brush thing.
Lippy brush, yeah.
Tiny little brush. And you've got lens liquid as well, like alcohol-based type liquid. And it comes with like a lens cloth and stuff. So, you know, but just gentle. Also, good not to go round in circles as well. Just sort of probably better for you to show that, Matt. But
yeah, so I mean, the way I normally do it is, as Steve said, puff off. Got to be careful how you say that. Then a bit of a brush, and that's just loosening all the big bits and bobs. I've got a lens pen thing, which is like a dry clean system. So once you've got the bits off, you can just literally use this and just go around in gentle little circles. And then I polish mine off. I've got a cloth, same as Steve. So really, I'm sure everyone probably already does this, but that's the way that we clean ours. How do you clean yours? Yep. And whatever you do, just remember, if you do the old breath and t-shirt, you do run the risk of doing a little bit of damage. The other thing is as well, two things. First of all, Steve mentioned about washing them. Obviously check to make sure your equipment is waterproof first, of course, but if it is, do it, because it's a really good idea. And secondly, I don't actually clean mine very often, really. I used to clean them pretty much every time I went out, but I'm thinking the less often you do it, the less chance you've got of getting damage to things anyway. And normally, if there's little bits and pieces on them, it doesn't actually affect the image. Even with taking photographs, if you've got a bit of dust on the lens, for example, you're not going to see that on the final photo. So yeah.
To be fair, mine seem to get like quite dirt. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know. Probably it's just me, but I clean them, and then within a few hours, they're sort of starting to get grubby again.
Yeah, me too. But then, to be fair, I mean, quite often, you can't see the state of the casing on this, but, if I'm leaning against fences or if I'm crawling on the ground to get a look at something or get a picture, they're normally getting squashed and scraped and stuff. So, look after the lenses, but the rest of it tends to get a bit grubby anyway. So, yeah.
Also, if you haven't got one, rain guard. Really, rain guard obviously keeps out a lot of muck, and also keeps out things like cheese, egg, pickle,
cake.
I've had pretty much all those on my binocular. You know what it's like? Take a bite of your sandwich.
Yeah.
And you can guarantee where's it going to land? Right on your eyepiece. So
I'd made peanut butter and Marmite sandwiches, which I do quite like. It's an acquired taste, but I took one bite and a big lump of gooey peanut butter and Marmite went straight on the leg. And you try getting Marmite off of binoculars in the field.
That's not good.
It's almost impossible. It's a nightmare. Anyway, right. Oh, that's another thing then. What have people spilt on their binoculars? Go on, let's see if anyone's spilt anything on them as well. Okay.
All else fails, you could have licked the Marmite off. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have wasted it.
Get another slice of bread and just scrape it off. Oh my goodness. Right. That's enough about that. But yeah, tell us how you clean your stuff. I don't know if that was useful, hopefully, and tell us what the funniest thing you've ever spilt on your binoculars or your camera was. Okay, so following on from last month. I was
just going to quickly say, for everyone that's watching us on YouTube tonight, we're at a nice stage of 299 subscribers for our YouTube channel. Be really nice if you've not subscribed to get our 300th subscriber tonight, or maybe if there's lots of people watching our 400th subscriber. Yeah. But, I think that's pushing it a little bit too much.
There's a free blob of Marmite for anyone that becomes our 300 subscriber.
Use the noise. There's an Apache helicopter just going over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Right. So following on from last month, anyone that has watched last month's show, first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, you may remember that Mark Nowers from the RSPB kindly spent a few minutes telling us about turtle dove conservation and the job that he's doing. And while I'm talking, instead of seeing my ugly mug, let's put a picture of some turtle doves up. Hold on a second. There we go. So hopefully you can see a turtle dove.
Nice.
Yep. Basically, just got a little bit of an update from Mark. So he said that he's had one popular site has had 5 singing males earlier this week, with a count of 10 birds a few days later. He said the season is going quite well so far. His colleagues feel the same as well. Obviously, he's not going to give out details of locations. So turtle doves, if you do see turtle doves, you can report them on BTO or eBird or whatever you use. You can report them on the EBS website. But it's good to be aware, as we said last month, if you think they're breeding in breeding locations, you need to be careful how you report them, because they're still a species that people want to sort of flock to come and see, and we wouldn't want to scare them off of potential breeding habitat. So Mark's had, as I said, 5 singing males with 10 birds a few days later. There's a garden that started to supplementary feed them for the first time after a single bird visited, and within a short period of time they've now had 4 birds present in that garden, which is fantastic. Another site, after missing out on spring birds last year, has a pair on site, which again provides hope. A request for records to be sent in is paying dividends, with a flurry of sightings in the greater Chelmsford area and new locations in tendering. And as well as meeting existing landowners, he's met with a number of Essex Wildlife Trust site staff who are really invested in the work that Mark's doing. And he's met up with the RHS and the Wilderness Foundation. So again, he's making contacts and really trying to spread the word about turtle dove conservation. He said he's feeling very positive. There are still birds to arrive. Some of them don't come until June. And he's asked again for any records, if you can email them to him directly, he can really get a good picture of what's happening on turtle doves. So his email address is mark.nowers, which is NOWERS, at rspb.org.uk. So that's mark.nowers at rspb.org.uk. And there you go. So it's kind of positive news, really. I mean, I've had a few turtle doves in locations that, you know, it was very pleasing to have them. Picture of one there, which is quite like it's the Alula on the wing, isn't it? The little feathers.
Yeah, the little Alula that sticks out.
Yeah, it was obviously, you know, they look quite cool. So yes, you know, please report your turtle dove sightings directly to Mark. He's doing a brilliant job, and long may that continue. Well done, fantastic.
I've not seen one this year, so I really need to get out when I get back from my trips and see those. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. What's next? Well, do you know what? There's quite a bit of feedback coming in. Well, on all the subjects, really. Actually, most of the feedback's about your sandwich choice of filling. Obviously, peanut and Marmite isn't a good one. So Jenny Lee Peacock says, really gross sandwich choice. And John Peacock says his daughter just says Matt has a disgusting taste in sandwiches. Obviously don't know him that well then. Excellent.
That's one of the good ones.
And then a couple of people have just come back and said that they use the lens pens, which I've got somewhere actually. Yeah, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know what they are, as I said earlier, you've got to brush one end. Oh Matt, if I went and got mine, it's exactly the same as that. You're joking. No, that's hilarious. I'll get it out of my bag at half time. And then the other end's it's like a dry clean thing. So the idea is, once you've brushed and blown all the dirt off, you just use the dry clean part gently, and then you can buff off with a cloth. And yeah, that's what it is. And they're quite handy because it's all in one thing, really. They're about £10, I think. They're not expensive. Mo Jackson, Golden Oriole, 17th of May 95, best bird for Sunnymead Farm. That's good. That's a good find, that is. Yeah, good patch bird, that is. And Brian Cox, hoopoe on the local cricket pitch in 1988. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's the kind of really good bird that I'd like to find, because there's no way I'd make a mistake with it. And it's a good bird that people want to come and see, isn't it? So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Any of those like Mediterranean species, you know, hoopoe, golden oriole, roller, you know, bee eaters as well. They're the ones that, you know, sort of draw the crowds, don't they? Definitely. Right, okay, so I think next up we're talking about Mo Jackson. So you've got Mo and Dave over at Sunnymead Farm in Aylesford, and we've had quite a few bits and pieces sent in by them, and we wanted to sort of share some of the stuff they've sent in. So to start with, this follows on from the piece we did a couple of months ago, the guide to Mistley and Manningtree. And I took a picture of a swan, and there was already feedback with the swan's history. But Dave's sent an email through, just really a little bit more about the swan's partner. So the swan that I took a picture of was ringed 4CBH, and the swan's partner was a female bird, 4EHL. And unfortunately, she died quite recently. But a bit of a history: she was taken into the RSPCA due to ill health back in 2001, and then she was released at the end of 2001. She was taken into care yet again by the RSPCA and released for a second time early in 2002 at Alton Water.
Then she made her way to Dovercourt Boating Lake and then ultimate to Mistley, where she appears to have stayed for the rest of her life before dying of old age on the 3rd of April 2022. She bred last year with 4 CBH, that's the bird that I took a picture of, and successfully reared 3 cygnets, which isn't bad for a 20-year-old swan. And I think they were hoping that she might breed again this year, but obviously, unfortunately, she passed away. But it's just really like ringing is so cool because you get to know the history of these birds. And this particular bird, it was really poorly when it was young, but it managed to live to the ripe old age of 20, had cygnets through the years, and we know where it started and where she finished. So that's really good. I think he also sent in some information about Medgulls, didn't he?
Yeah, so yeah, on their farm, so this was back at the end of April. They counted a unprecedented 56 Mediterranean gulls on their farm, which is, I mean, it's a stunning count. That is for spring. I mean, normally you'd expect that maybe a few at Southend and around the coast, but that's really, really good. And like all of us, you have a look through all the birds, and there were some that were colour ringed. So there were 4 Mediterranean gulls with colour rings, and amongst the med gulls there were black-headed gulls, and one of those had a colour ring. And then they've sort of submitted the details. So I think there's a piece on our YouTube page, Matt, isn't there? There's a piece of about submitting sightings of ringed birds. So if you look on our YouTube channel and scroll back through, it's probably about a year ago or so now, maybe. Yep. There's a piece on that. But they got some replies back. So the black-headed gulls were ringed from the North Thames Gull Group. So presumably that's down Pitsea and Rainham and places like that. But this is more interesting. The 4 Mediterranean gulls. One was again from the North Thames Gull Group, so down on the south of the county. 2 of them were from Belgium, which is interesting, and the other one was from France.
Wow!
I don't know. You and I have seen med gulls down at Canvey, haven't we, Matt? And with French and Dutch and Belgian rings.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know whether these birds go back to. I mean, we haven't. I mean, Dave has attached the histories of some of these birds, but be interesting to know whether they go back to Belgium to breed.
Yeah.
Or they stay in this country. So
that's the thing. I mean, no one knows where the Mistley med gull goes, do they? And that might be in Belgium or France or somewhere like that at the moment. You just don't know, do you? So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of reading rings and submitting the sightings.
Absolutely, which seamlessly flows into the next piece. Again, another email exchange that I had with Dave. So thanks a lot, Dave, for the emails you're sending in, because it's always really interesting to read about what you're getting up to and the history of these birds. And just very briefly, I had a colour-ringed coot at Ardley. And I thought I'm going to report that, and I thought maybe it's actually one of Dave's rings, because I know he rings lots of waterfowl and so on locally. So before I reported it, I sent him a quick email just to see if it was his, and it wasn't. But he advised who to get in touch with, which I duly did. And the bird that I saw was actually ringed in Blunham Lake in Bedfordshire right at the end of 2020. And I was the first one to report it after that, some 16 months later in Ardley. So that's what, about 50, 60 odd miles as the coot flies, which I thought that's quite good, because, coots, if you see them fly, they're a bit rubbish. They've got little wings and dangly legs, and they tend to fly that far above the water and aren't particularly very good at it, or they don't seem very good at it. So I let Dave know, and he came back to me and said he'd just been contacted by Kane Bridges, who's one of the coordinators for the ringing schemes with the WWT. And he said a colour-ringed coot turned up in Iceland, of all places. So this particular coot was ringed in North Tyneside in December 2020. It was last sighted in its ringing location in North Tyneside in February of this year. And then by mid-April, it had travelled 1,527 kilometres and gone to Iceland. And it's the first record of a British ringed coot to have been found in Iceland. And some of the other places they've turned up from this country have been Russia, Denmark, and France. And I think you had one. Where did you have one as well?
I was leading a tour in Extremadura in Spain, and so so apart from rings on their legs, some programs they put like a neck collar, which to be fair I'm not a great fan of, but that's another story. But yeah, this one had a neck collar, and I thought, oh, okay. So I read the ring number, sent it off, expecting it to be like a local bird, and it was from Poland.
Mad, yeah.
And it was flown like, I don't know how far that is. I've got the report somewhere, but yeah, phenomenal.
So this is the thing. If I always report them because I want to know where that bird's been that I've just seen, because I just find it fascinating and interesting that of all the places in the world it could have flown to, it's plopped and landed in front of me. But obviously from a conservation point of view, it's used to track the movement of these birds, the population of the birds, where they're breeding, where they're frequenting, and it really helps to, you know, to find out what we can do to help the birds. So if you see a ring, as Steve said, report it. And if you're not sure how to, look on our YouTube site and there's a little feature on there how to do that. Mo and Dave also, finally, to finish our little Mo and Dave section, they sent in some pictures as well. And I think they must have some kind of a trail cam. So first picture is this one, what we've got here.
Turtle doves, fantastic.
Turtle doves. So I know that Mark has been meeting or met with Dave, and they've been supplementary feeding for turtle doves on their farm, and we've got a couple of birds here, which is a really good sign. But it turns out that they've got some other little critters, or big critters in fact, feeding during the night. So the next picture is
Mr. Badger.
Mr. Badger, yeah.
Mrs. Badger.
Probably. Yeah, so that's quite good fun. And this must be a trail cam, I reckon, because they pick up movement, don't they? I think those cams, yeah, which is good. And then Mo sent a picture in. They've got a little owl there at the moment as well that's been sitting on these posts during the daytime. So that's a really nice little photo as well, isn't it?
Of course, the badger's probably is obviously eating the turtle dove food.
Well, as long as it's not eating the turtle doves themselves, that's okay.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, little owl during the day. I remember when I was a kid, my dad was driving, and my mum said to him, "Stop the car!" And there was a signpost with an ornamental owl on it, and she said, "Look at that owl ornament. That's really realistic." And then it blinked. It's an owl. That was quite good fun. But anyway, right, what's next?
So what we got next? So where are we going with a field trip? Yeah, so last month, or no, is it this month? Sorry, oh crikey. This month, the Birdwatching Society did a field trip to the Suffolk Wildlife Trust's fantastic, like it's almost flagship reserve at Carlton Marshes. Unfortunately, I was unavailable that day, but you went, didn't you, Matt? And had a really good time. Yeah,
it was brilliant. Actually, it was our first. I think it was our first coach trip since COVID.
Yeah.
So the coach was pretty full, which was good, and it was nice to catch up with a lot of people that we hadn't seen for a long time. And so I mean, you've been to the site since they've redone it, and it's brilliant. You know, there's a huge visitor centre with a great viewing platform. The paths are fantastic. You can go either way around the reserve. You've got a nice long walk right up to the top, to the Peto Marsh at the top, and there's plenty of viewing points and hides and bits and pieces. So really, really good reserve. If you've never been there, you know, it's well worth getting in the car. How long does it take to get there? An hour and a half, something like that?
Yeah, from us, it's about an hour and a half, hour and 40.
So it's not, you know, even from South Essex, maybe a couple of hours, 2.5 hours tops. And it's well worth spending a day out there, really is. And we saw some nice things, actually. We saw these little chappies or chapesses. What's this, Steve?
It's a Chinese water deer. So
it is.
So yeah, the broad, well, the sort of Norfolk Broads, and do you know what, these we introduced many years ago into Britain, and they're spreading quite widely. But yeah, and Carlton Marsh is one of the best places to see these. They're relatively numerous, aren't they? And they obviously show pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, they really did show nicely, and there was probably, I don't know, it must have been a good dozen of them, I reckon, we saw through the day. Really, really nice. And I think this particular female one didn't think that we could see her if she was stood behind the grass. So
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
Really, really cute faces, haven't they?
Oh yeah, and massive fluffy ears. Yeah, they just look like they're really lovely. Yeah. Anyway, next up.
So a wall brown butterfly. Again, do you know what? Carlton Marshes is a Suffolk stronghold for wall browns. There's always good numbers of those there. Obviously in Essex, if you're looking for them in Essex, the Thames, Tilbury and around the Canvey is really good for wall browns. But yeah, great butterfly to see.
There was a pair of them actually just sort of chasing each other around, which was really nice to watch. Really good. Then we had one of them. I must have confessed, I wasn't 100% sure on this. I'm not very good at dragonflies, so I had to look it up when I got home. But this is a scarce chaser, I think.
That's right. Yeah, it's got the big, like that sort of black line down the abdomen there.
Yeah, and the sort of yellow forewings here, and just I don't think I'd seen one of them before, to be fair. So I was quite pleased with that. And then we did see some birds as well. We had a wheat here that basically looked like someone had glued it onto a post. It literally, this bird sat probably within about 20 or 30 feet of us all. And obviously we were all, just watching and taking a couple of photos, but he was such a show off. Just sat there and just showing off for us all. We had hobbies, which was great to see. There was at least 3 or 4 hobbies flying around and catching dragonflies and insects and so on. And then probably the star of the day, we had 5 cranes that flew overhead.
Brilliant.
Which were brilliant. We were just walking along, talking, and these 5 massive birds flew overhead. And we all got a really good chance to watch them for a few minutes as they sort of circled around and then flew off eventually. We thought they were going to land, but they were circling and they were getting higher and higher, and then they flew off. So, but brilliant to see them, really good. And next month, we're going to Lakenheath Fen, and you've been there recently, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, I was there. I was leading one of my day trips there yesterday. And although the weather wasn't quite blue sky like that, it was a bit windy and grey yesterday. Yeah, we had a really good day. So if you've not been to Lakenheath before, again, well worth going on the coach on next month's trip. Yeah, we saw, I don't know, we had 10 plus sightings of bittern yesterday, and good views. There's been up to 35 hobbies there. We only saw about a dozen yesterday, 10 or a dozen, because again, the weather wasn't great, but it's again one of the best places to see hobby. There's a couple of pairs of cranes nesting there at the moment. Plus there's a flock of maybe a dozen birds that are non-breeding that are sort of floating around. What else is there? Great white egret, it's good for kingfisher, great for the warblers at the moment, loads of reed and sedge warblers. Barn owl was seen there yesterday morning. Yeah, it's just a cracking place. It's got a nice visitor centre as well, where you can get a coffee, cold drink, ice cream. Yeah, it's really well worth the day out.
And obviously, if you're near Lakenheath as well, so you might see an eagle or 2 flying around as well, mightn't you?
Yeah, we had really good views of the F-15 eagles yesterday, plus F-35s, Matt.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Okay. So yeah, you can see on the screen there, hopefully, our next field trip, I think it's the final one of the season, so to speak, although we are going to the Global Bird Fair in July as well, which we'll mention later. But Sunday the 26th of June, RSPB Lakenheath Fen. To book your coach seat, you can email jerry2johnson@aol.com, or you can give them a call on the number on the screen there, 07775 663 166. The coach is filling fast. I think there may be about 8 or 9 places left, that's all. So if you do want to come along, please contact Jerry as soon as you can and let him know, and it will be great to see you all there. So I don't think you're going to make it, but I'll be there. Yeah, so yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't make that one, but hopefully from there onwards, I'm good to do all the coach trips. So I look forward to getting back leading some of those.
Brilliant. Look forward to it as well. Yeah, so it's always good when you're walking around. We always see more stuff with you there, to be fair, mate.
That's very kind of you to say so. I do miss coming along. I really do, and wish I was there, because they're great out and great social occasion as well as good birding and everything else.
Well, and talking about not seeing people for a while, you got a message from Derek House, and he said, "Hi, Steve. Hello, and long time no see." And I know you've replied to him. I've just seen that.
I've seen Derek for a long time. Number of now. I think last time I saw Derek, he did a talk for the Birdwatching Society on, I think it was on Antarctica. So we saw lots lots of nice pictures of penguins and stuff like that, and albatrosses and all those good birds.
Excellent. Right, where have you been and what have we seen?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, I really can't count where I've been because I've not been in Essex at all. But yeah, I've been all over the shop. I've had a couple of tours to Mull, one last week and then one about 3 weeks ago. And then since then, I've been to Holland and the south of France. And I've got a few pictures just to whip through if I can remember. You know, if I can remember what to do on the Zoom, it's oh, Matt, can you share screen?
Yes, right. Hold on 1 second, technical glitch. Bear with me. And there you go. We're back in the game. Brilliant.
Good. Thank you very much, mate.
No problem.
So hopefully you can see. Hopefully you can see a picture of a puffin there.
Yep.
I'll just whip through. Yeah. So this is taken in Mull. So on the west coast of Scotland, one of the Inner Hebrides. But yeah, really good place for seabirds, and we were just spoilt with great views of puffin and also black guillemots. So these are quite a numerous nesting bird along the coast there. So lovely bright red feet and this nice white patch on the wings. Not just birds, we had some really good views of otter.
Lovely.
Including this one just coming out, and this was one of 3 that we saw together out on the rocks. Really good place for great northern divers in the spring, up to 50 birds together. So these are all this is a molting adult. So these are waiting to go like north to Greenland and Iceland to breed, and they molt off the coast of Mull. So so that's really nice. Mull's got lots of nesting hen harriers. So this is a female hen harrier that flew past us, and twite. So this is, well, sometimes we're used to seeing these in the winter, but these breed up on Mull, and you can see on this bird here, nice pinkish rump, really smart little finch. So these were hopping around on one of the islands, and of course white-tailed eagle. So
lovely.
That is very good for birds of prey. Lots of golden eagles, lots of white-tailed eagles, and this white-tailed eagle was just perched on a sort of stone cairn. So that gave the group really nice views, and then off to Holland. So had a 4-day trip to Holland. So based on the island of Flevoland, really good spot for birding. I'd not been birding there for 20 odd years, and I'd forgotten just how good it was. And we saw something like 20,000 barnacle geese. This is just a few of them. So the barnacle geese hadn't migrated off to sort of Svalbard and those sorts of places. So they were still wintering in Holland, but this is just a small group. And of course, one bird that everyone wanted to see was blue throat. So we had some really nice views of blue throat, including
beautiful.
This. And there he is. You can see his blue throat.
Beautiful.
That's nice. Purple heron, quite a scarce bird in Holland, but we were lucky to see one of these on a small park that just gave nice flight views. And red-crested potchards, quite numerous on the wetlands in Holland. What else have we got? And wild boar. We had a walk in some woodland where we found black woodpecker and crested tit and wood warbler pied flycatcher. And one of the group spotted this young male wild boar, giving us the old eye there.
Looks like he spotted you as well, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Always reminds me of those guards out of Star Wars. Do you remember Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
They were called something Gamorrean guards or something they were called. But yeah, so yeah, wild boar, and lots of wood sandpipers moving through as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we had about 20 or 30 of these. And then down to southern France, down to the Camargue, where the weather was absolutely stunning, about 27 degrees. So lots of black kites. These are probably the most numerous raptor we saw. Saw lots of these. Crested tit. So these breed in the pine woods, in the sort of limestone mountains. And roller. So
wow.
not the best shot, but this is a roller rolling. So it's got this display flight where they sort of twist and roll up and down. So I managed to catch this one in flight, which
fantastic.
Is real highlight. And of course, flamingos. Everyone likes to see the flamingos. But this year in the Camargue, there were very few flamingos. There's a big nesting colony with like 20,000 pairs, and it deserted.
Oh,
Um,
that's weird. Did anyone know why? Or
and I did have a brief try to find out. I don't know whether it's water levels or what, but so if anyone watching this knows, please let me know, because be intrigued to find out. And Kentish plovers were very numerous, and another purple heron. These again, very, very common species in the Camargue. So again, we had nice views of these. And short-toed eagle.
Beautiful.
Short snake eagle, I think the new name is. And one of these was in Scotland this week, I think, wasn't there? It was a report.
Yeah, I did see that mentioned, actually. Yeah, there's been one flapping around right up there. So, yeah. Good
bird. And then spectacled warbler. So this was taken by one of my customers, Paul and Moore, that took this lovely spectacled warbler. And then we'll finish up just quickly through Mull again. So I went to Mull last week. The weather wasn't quite as nice as my first trip there, as you can see from the stormy seas and grey sky. In fact, it was pretty miserable weather, but we managed to see all the good birds, including lots and lots of these puffins flying over the water. Great skewer, which gave a nice flyby.
I expect the puffins were staying away from that, weren't they?
They were. They do keep a bit of a low profile. And then just we were waiting to get the ferry, there were a nice little flock of gannets that were diving down and feeding. So a bit of a shot here pre-dive, which was nice. Raven. This is a slightly bedraggled raven, which was nice to catch. And look at the size of that bill. I mean, it's absolutely monster. And short-eared owls. Short-eared owls breed on Mull in varying numbers, but this year there seems to be quite a few around. So we saw about 3 together at one point. This one, it basically been raining all day. The rain stopped and the owls came out. Simple as, they were desperate to feed. Another shock twite, which again, nice little bird to catch up with.
You can really see the pale throat there, can't you? That's a really nice shot.
Yeah. And then we'll just finish off with, again, this common buzzard that was mobbing this white-tailed eagle. And the white-tailed eagle was doing these full barrel rolls with his talons up in the air. And I managed to capture this shot. This was on a rare sunny day, but so this is a white-tailed eagle.
I've still not seen one, and it always amazes me the size when you see them with buzzards nearby, because buzzards quite often mob them, don't they? And ravens and so on. And I mean, the size difference there is astonishing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my month, which I'm looking forward to about a report from Essex in the next few months, hopefully.
Yes, yeah. Well, my month wasn't quite as exotic as yours. I did a little bit of local birding. I mean, I've been working as well, so I've been dipping in and out of Ardley, but other than the ringoozle, not really an awful lot unusual to share from there. We did have a couple of these chappies turn up at Abberton.
I was gutted.
Sorry?
I was gutted to have missed those.
They were only there for, I think, one day, weren't they? And they kind of away they went. So pair of black-winged stilts, for anyone that isn't sure what they are, but really, really lovely birds. I went to have a look for the bird of the month, which will reveal what that is later on. And unfortunately, the bird of the month had disappeared by the time I got there, but I did manage to catch up with this rather smart breeding plumage wing chat, which I was really pleased with. And then I've been on a bit of a field trip. So, I'm kind of, my planning is a bit rubbish. And for anyone that knows me may know that 2 or 3 years ago, I went to this place last minute and ended up staying overnight and sleeping in my car. Well, I went back this year and I did kind of organise it a little bit better, although I didn't leave until fairly late in the morning. I left at about 9 o'clock, so I didn't get there until about lunchtime. But I did actually stay in a hotel overnight. And so the place I went to was, of course, Bempton Cliffs.
Swine.
Sorry?
Swine.
Well, I was hoping to of course, see the albatross, but more on that later. But yeah, so you've got some nice views of tree sparrow, which are a great bird to see because you don't see them that often in Essex. And this was just me in my car, and I've got a camera that I didn't have the last time I went there 3 years ago. And I just wanted to practice taking a few pictures of birds flying past, because things fly past close at Bempton. If you've never been, again, it's another place it's really worth a visit. It doesn't take that long to get there, about 4.5 hours or so. And the views you get of some of the seabirds going past are absolutely astonishing. You've got some really good platforms to stand and watch from. And it's just a spectacle that even if you're not into birds, you should go. And if you're into birds like you guys all are, it's definitely worth a visit. And this is the sort of thing you're going to see. Nice puffin in the middle there with some kittiwakes and guillemots, and as near to a rock dove as I'm ever going to see probably. And you get, there's breeding colonies of gannets just all dotted around everywhere. And you kind of become a bit blasé to the fact that you're watching tens of thousands of birds at any time. You can take boat trips out, and I'm not sure if Tim Hayward is watching, but I bumped into him up there, actually, funny enough. Oh. I've been there literally about 5 minutes, and I heard, "Hello, Matt," and Tim was there. And he'd been, the day before, he'd been out on a boat trip, I presume similar to this. And I guess, do they throw sort of food out of the back of the, like fish and stuff out the back of the boat?
Yeah, mackerel. They chuck mackerel out, and then the gannets come in and dive, and you can get some really great shots, in the water.
I think next time I go up there, I might try and see if Tina can come along, and we'll go out on the boat, because that would be a pretty good thing to do, I reckon. And got some closer views of puffins just sitting around, which was nice. And guillemots, obviously, again, they're really close in, and this pair were sort of having a little bit of interaction together, which I thought looked quite good. Razorbills with their lovely sort of yellowy orange beak, and their tiny little stubby wings. I hadn't really realised before how sort of stubby a razorbill's wings are. They've got this little fat body and these tiny little wings, and I guess that's why when they fly, they sort of fly like that, don't they? They just flap and flap. So it's good to see them. Gannets, of course, again, nice and close. Nice little pair posing here on the cliff edge. And then I stayed in Scarborough overnight. I just stayed in a little hotel in Scarborough, and I was on the way back to Bempton the next morning because I wanted to get some pictures of birds in flight the next morning, see if I could practice that. And there's this big cliff at Scarborough. I've never been there before, but huge cliff, and it's full of nesting kittiwakes, hundreds of nesting kittiwakes. And there was this pair of fulmar there as well, which I literally, just as I put the picture up to take a picture, they did this and flapped, and I thought that made a nice image. But there was 2 or 3 guys bird watching there, and it turns out there was a peregrine, which I picked out on the edge of the cliff, which I've never seen a peregrine on a cliff before. And then there's a peregrine nesting up there.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. And I've never seen a peregrine. I've only ever seen a peregrine nesting on jumbo in Colchester. So to actually see one, you can just see the chick, or one of the chicks just here. So to actually see one on a ledge on a cliff, I was like, oh, that's absolutely brilliant. I was so glad I stopped. And I just love that shot, because the kittiwakes are obviously having a look as well. And the look on the peregrine's face there, she's sort of, she's quite keen for it not to get any closer, I think. Let's put it that way.
Size of that female peregrine with the kittiwake. I mean, she's a monster.
Oh, she's huge. And don't forget, I mean, yeah, she's hunkered down in the nest, really. If she were to stand up, she'd be twice the size of it, wouldn't she? And what the guys were saying, I had a quick chat with them. They're saying that basically in the mornings, after the first hour or two, and I couldn't stay, I wanted to get back to Bempton, but she said she'll call, and the male who sat on the cliff edge all night, when she calls, he flies off and catches something for breakfast and brings it back to her.
Wow.
Brilliant. Anyway. Turn around. There was a couple of rock pipits just hopping along the wall there as well. Cars going past. You got rock pipits like robins just sat on the wall, which is quite good. But back to Bempton, it's not just little big birds there. They've got little birds as well. There's a little sort of woodland nature trail and nice views of sedge warbler. Some lovely views of reed bunting in the, I think this is red campion. Red
campion, yep.
Just really nice. The colours are beautiful. But then I took some pictures of birds in flight. So you got kittiwake, and there was hundreds of kittiwakes, and they were pulling up all this sort of dead grass for nesting material and just flying backwards and forwards. And I've got no idea how they can see where they're going. It's incredible, but the noise they make as well is wonderful. Gannets, of course, good numbers of gannets flying past, and again they were collecting nesting material too.
Wow.
Just some of these birds are you had to zoom out to take the pictures. They're just so close. Probably my favourite Fulmar. You know, I think Fulmars are fantastic, and they just fly. They've got those straight wings, haven't they?
Yeah, that is brilliant. I love that shot. It's superb.
Yeah, they're lovely, lovely birds, and again, they just got a cute little face as well. You can see the tube nose. They're part of the petrel group, I think, aren't they? Yeah. But I think they're probably my favourite seabird Fulmar, just because of the way that the plumage is. It just looks grey, but it's not. It's beautiful. If you look at the plumage, it's so many colours in there. It's absolutely stunning. And of course, we've got a little stubby-winged razorbill zoom past. Managed to get a shot one of them in flight. But it was puffins I was really after, and I managed to get a couple of nice puffin shots in flight. So this one coming into land, and that was probably my favourite. Just one sort of heading straight in. Managed to capture it. But the problem the night before, I'd been trying to take puffin pictures, and this was the best I got. And I thought, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then I realised that the photos were being photobombed. And they were being photobombed by this bad boy.
Oh, you swine! Oh, that's it. I'm going, mate. I'm sorry. There you go. There you go. You've had it. Good night, everybody.
Oh, dear. Sorry, Steve. So on the first night, I think he's gone. On the first night, I'd gone up to, I can't remember the name of the lookout. It's the southernmost lookout point. And the bird hadn't been seen for 48 hours. And I was happy. To be fair, I'd gone there and I thought, if it's not there, that's it. I'll see gannets and puffins and razorbills and all those things. But if it's there, it'd be fantastic. And I was just looking through my binoculars, watching gannets, and all of a sudden, this albatross flew through, and it circled round, and the light. I mean, the light was nice. Steve, for anyone watching, Steve doesn't know I've been up there and seen this, and so this.
My crikey! You haven't even tweeted the pictures.
No, I've been desperate to tweet them, but I thought I'm going to spring it on you as a surprise, and then you're going to probably kill me later on.
Oh my, yeah, it is. Because you said to me during the week, I've been on a road trip, and I went, you better not have seen that albatross, and you said, no.
No, I didn't. I said, don't get too excited.
You said, no, you did say something else, but yeah. Oh, that is blooming amazing, and what a superb photos.
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased with this one actually, because it kind of came through the gannet colony, and it just happened. I just happened to capture it as it was coming through, and then the final pic was just the nicest view I got of its little face. So. A beautiful bird, and I'll be honest with you, it's obviously got a huge wingspan, but because the wings are quite slim, initially it didn't appear to me as big as I thought it was going to look compared to gannet. Okay. But then when you look at it, you think actually this thing, and it just doesn't flap. I think the wings they lock, don't they? They lock straight, and it just comes out and it just does this for 3 or 4 minutes, and then comes back in and lands on the cliff. I didn't get any pictures of it landing because it was landing out of sight. But yeah, I was very pleased, and
well done. Well done, mate. Yeah. Although I am going to be jealous, they are. This is probably the last time I'm ever going to be invited to do this show, and it's the last time that me and Steve are ever going to speak. So yeah, but it was really good. Really good. I'm looking for a new replacement for Matt next month, please. If you put your name on a stamp addressed envelope, send it to PO Box. No.
Have we got any feedback?
What we got? David Smith. David Smith says Sunday the 29th. I don't know what that's about, but
don't know.
It can't be the field trip because it's the 26th.
No, the field trip's the 26th of June.
Okay.
It's not this month. It's 26th of June, so I'm not sure what that's about.
Derek House. Oh yeah, it was the Falkland Islands. Derek's talk, not Anton. Cool. Oh, and then Tim Hayward's come in. He says that he's watching tonight. So good evening. He said the boat trip's organised by the RSPB and departs from Bridlington. It's well worth it. Great views of the cliffs and up close with rafts of guillemots and razorbills.
Fabulous. Maybe. Did you see the gannets being fed as well, Tim? Were you kind of on that sort of a boat, or was it guillemots and razors and puffins and so on? That'd be good to know.
I think the RSPB ones, there's a boat called the Yorkshire Belle.
Okay.
goes from Bridlington, and it does the seabird trips in the summer, and then in the autumn they do like a skewer and shearwater cruise, which I've done a couple of times.
Nice.
That's well worth checking the RSPB website for those.
Okay.
And then Richard Chu says he totally agrees with you, Matt. Bimpton Cliffs is highly recommended. So accessible and no need for ferries to offshore islands. Oh, okay. That's for us, obviously. Brilliant birding and photographic opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is for accessibility as well. The paths are good. You don't have to walk that far to get to the viewpoints from the visitor centre. So it's all kind of fairly compact, really. Yes, it's good.
Yeah, go on.
Mo said, when's the coach trip? Yeah, so it's on Sunday, the 26th of June, the coach trip to Lakenheath. So it's in about a month or so. Yeah.
And what else we got? Richard Chu said, Albert Ross can be seen from the Staple Nuke viewpoint.
That's it. Yeah.
And amazing photos, Matt. Yeah, and Tim said fabulous photos, Matt. And yeah, to be fair, they are fabulous photos.
Well, on the 2 days, because it was more of a photographic trip than just bird watching, although there's going to be good birds anyway, but it was mainly just to practice my photography, and I actually took 1,700 pictures in 2 days. The first 300 of which I had the camera on the wrong setting, which is a bit annoying, but there you go. Anyway, right. We were going to ask people, where have you guys been and what have you seen? So if we always say where we've been and what we've been doing. So if anyone else has been out and about locally or further away, if they want to share it in the chat, or if they want to send us any emails or pictures or anything, we can catch up with those during or after the break. Yep. What's coming up in the second half, Steve?
We've got the competition results, photographic competition. The voting is now finished. So during the break, Matt will be getting his calculator and his fingers and toes, and hopefully that's all he's getting out. To do the final. Sorry, it's been a long day. Well, you never know. You might get up to 20, and you know. And then what else we've got? Yeah, we've got the bird sightings from this month.
Yep.
And then we just got our general. We get some feedback from people, and
we've also got a special video. So for anyone that hasn't heard a nightingale sing, hopefully if it works, we've John Ward kindly said that I could nick some stuff off his Twitter feed, and I've managed to work out how to download a video. So we're going to have a video of a nightingale singing for about 45 seconds or so. So for anyone that hasn't heard one yet this year, that's worth sticking around for in the second half as well. So we're going to play a short break now, about 3.5 minutes, while I'm working out the results for the competition. And the break this time round is actually all of the entries to the photo competition, apart from the finalists. And obviously it's a spring competition. So we thought we'd choose some appropriate music to go with it. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to turn the camera off, and we'll see you in about 3.5 minutes, Steve.
Okay, mate. Yep. See you. If I don't come back, I'm crying right into bank.
I'm actually you've got just almost enough time to drive around my house and punch me in the face. So in the second half, if I've got a black eye in the second half, you know that's what's happened. Okay. See you in a bit.
See everybody after the break.
Thanks, mate.
You know what? Your violin playing skills have got better and better throughout the years.
Oh, it's all that practicing, you know. It's when I got bored of watching the albatross, to be fair, so I thought I'd practice the violin a little bit, you know. That's what it was.
It's probably why it came in, gliding around. He likes a bit of Vivaldi there in the...
Right, so we have the results. We're going to do the results a little bit later on, so we're going to keep on tenterhooks. But first, we are going to talk about the sightings, aren't we? Just reports from around the county.
Yep. So it's been a busy month, actually, hasn't it? It's been...
Yeah. So first up, we had a kind of a funny little email through from David Smith.
Yep. Yeah. So, so for those who are not aware, up in our area of Colchester, we've had a white stork that's been. I think it was found last summer. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Ollie found it on the pits at Stanway, didn't he?
Yeah, it was found on the pits at Stanway by the rubbish tip or by the zoo, and it was there for a month or two, and then it disappeared. I think it went down to Kent, maybe, but then it came back earlier this spring, and also there was a black kite at the same time. But we had an email from David Smith, whose nephew Tom is a frequent visitor to Colchester Zoo, and apparently it's now building a nest in the Andean condor enclosure. And Tom's got some really cracking shots here of this white stork with all his relatives watching. There's like,
can you see that?
That's amazing. I mean, look at that. That is just like, well, there you go. I mean,
I think there's one in a second. I think it might be the next one that's my favourite of these. I mean, the pictures themselves are wonderful, and you know, it's not ringed, and it can fly around, and it wants to associate with exotic animals, doesn't it? So, but that look at that. That's
just the best shot ever. It's well done. Yeah, and apparently, where the giraffes are, there's like, you know, southern white rhinos, crowned cranes, kudus. I mean, you know, to be fair, if it is a wild bird, which no reason why not, it could winter in Africa, or it could have come. You know, who knows? But yeah, well done to Tom for getting those shots.
I think actually, I've just thought of this. Right, for next month, I want a caption. I think people should caption competition for this, because that's such a great competition. We'll see if we can think of a little prize or something for the funniest, the caption that makes us laugh the most. So if you want to take a picture of that on your mobile phone to remind you, or you can watch this back on YouTube if you want to, and see if you can send us in a caption for that photograph, please, because that's got to be worth a caption. I just love that. It's brilliant.
Yeah. So, and I think the bird has been seen around and about. So yeah, really, really good. So thanks for the feedback there. It was good.
Right. So we're going to do like the normal sightings around the county, aren't we? So,
yep. So I'll kick off with South Essex. So busy month. So I've got my bit of paper again with everything written down. So yeah, so I'll cover the south of Essex, and Matt's going to cover the north. So yeah, Rainham Marshes in May. Kicked off really finely with a singing marsh warbler in early May. But it was only a one-day bird, but you never know, might be hanging around to breed.
Yeah.
Rainham's been pretty good. It's got a very Mediterranean feel this month with glossy ibis, spoonbill, cattle egret, and then I think last weekend had a shorty owl, so which could indicate a local breeding bird somewhere. So yeah, and also Wanstead Park, which we haven't featured before, but if I can just share the screen there. So this black-necked grebe. As I'm not quite sure when it was taken. I think it was early May. So this is Malachi Taylor took this shot. So thanks, Malachi, for sending these in. Absolutely cracking. And Malachi is a very young member of the Birdwatching Society. Yeah, absolutely stunning shots of
wow,
black-necked grebe. It was just the
superb.
one. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that eye level,
Yeah. And I love the fact that you can really see the, the upturned bill and the peak crown, and that eye is just, yeah.
So fabulous for that. Thanks, Malachi, for that. And also at Wanstead, there's Caspian gull, and they got in with spotted flycatcher. One of a few places that got spotted flycatchers this month. Tilbury, a little bit quiet at Tilbury this month, but it's got certainly got breeding confirmed on ravens and little ring plovers. Good. Which is good. And then we were talking about nightingale earlier. So Canvey Island, Canvey Wick, still had up to 5 nightingales earlier in the month, and West Canvey Marsh RSPB reserves had little gull, which was still there again today. So if anyone wants to see little gull, West Canvey Marsh is a good place to go. And then nearby Bange Marsh, we've had 3 black-winged stilts dropped in for one evening. There was hopes, I think they might have stayed around, but unfortunately they didn't. And then nearby Bowers Marsh has had grasshopper warbler, but otherwise it's been pretty quiet there. And then on the black-winged stilt theme, we've got Wallasey Island. So for those, probably watched the news this week, the Queen Elizabeth line opened, was where all the crossrail, all the spoil came from to create Wallasey, and that's paid dividends because it's had black-winged stilt there this month. I think it was there a few days ago, and they've also had an osprey passing through.
Brilliant.
And then down around Southend area, we've got turtle dove was seen at Wakering Stairs, which was nice. And then at Gunners Park, if I can remember how to do this, doesn't really help that I've got my webcam right in the middle of the screen, so I can't see what I'm doing. So, and so in Gunners Park, we had this black guillemot. So this is probably the black guillemot, in fact, almost certainly the black guillemot that was hanging around this winter. And it sort of been frequenting off Gunners Park between here and Kent. And then it turned up last week, now virtually in breeding plumage.
Wow.
Fantastic shot was taken by Pete Webster. So well done, Pete, for...
That's a cracker. Do you know, is it still around or not? Because I've not seen one in breeding plumage, to be fair. It was certainly seen at the end of last week, or maybe this weekend. I can't quite remember, Matt, to be honest with you. I wonder why that's sort of stuck around the area. It's strange, isn't it? Yeah. 20th of May, I think it was reported last, so could still be there. Who knows? What else have we got? The Dengie Peninsula. They had Dottrell earlier in the month briefly, down sort of South Dengie. But the access is very difficult there. It's a long walk from Burnham on Crouch. And also they've had 3 turtle doves down on that area. Nice. Bradwell Bird Observatory has had spotted flycatchers. And then we'll just finish off with Drake Gargany's been seen at Blue House Farm, Essex Wildlife Trust Reserve. That's at North Fambridge. And then we're moving up to our neck of the woods now. So Mersey Island has been pretty quiet. They've had nightingale on Mersey, which is a good bird. Mm-hmm. And then Old Hall Marshes has been pretty good. The water levels there are incredibly good at the moment. So they've had Temmink Stint, Pectoral Sandpiper, Gargany, Spoonbills, Wood Sandpiper, and there was a couple of red-breasted geese flew over. So not quite sure from. But I think they were seen later in northern Britain somewhere.
sort of Northamptonshire way, I think. So yeah, so it's been a busy month in the south of the county. So what have you got in the north?
Yeah, so let's just pop a couple of pictures up. So first of all, on the 23rd of April, so just after the show we did last month, a couple of common cranes dropped into Holland Haven. Matt Lonsdale spotted them, and that's a really good record for the Haven. I think they've only been reported there once or twice before. So Mick Rodwell kindly said we could use this picture, and so it was one of the birds that flew, or that landed and then flew off. On the 1st of May, or around about the 1st of May, there was a black tern at Abberton Reservoir that was showing really nicely. On the 3rd of May, we had two wood sandpipers show up at Catawade. Ed Keeble found them. There was also a bird at St. Osiph and another bird on the 15th of May at Catawade, probably a different bird because it's a couple of weeks after. Holland Haven on the 5th of May, Mick Rodwell found a wryneck. And Richard Jeffrey has kindly said we can use his picture. What a great bird! I think it was only there for a couple of days, but yeah, I think a spring wryneck is fairly unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, we tend to get autumn birds in the county, so spring wrynecks again pretty rare.
Also up at the Naze on the 7th of May, there was a little stint Brian Combs found. Little gulls at Abberton Reservoir, 8th and 9th of May, there was a little gull flapping around. I think that was in the Wig Bay and Billets area. Then on the 9th of May as well, of course, we had the black-winged stilts, as I mentioned previously. And this is a photograph that Zane Sargent posted to the EBS website. So thanks for that, Zane. I actually bumped into him on the evening that they were there. So that's a really nice shot you got there, Zane. Well done. On the 9th of May, Paul Brayshaw at Frinton had a Pomeranian skewer flying north. And there was a wood warbler found at the Naze on the 10th. On the 11th of May at Abberton, we had this little chappie. Now, I think the jury's still out on this, isn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's always this debate whether it's a hooded merganser for those who don't know. But yeah, they're a bird that are kept in captivity, but then they're also, you know, they're quite numerous in North America. So is it a wild bird? Is it an escape?
I think the pros and cons really for this particular bird are it's not ringed, it can fly, and it only stayed for a day, I think, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
The cons, it did get very close to the causeway and seemed fairly tame. But then I have read that they're like that in America.
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, if you go to
who knows,
certain places you can go to, and some of the wild birds are really tame, you know. So yeah, who knows? And it depends whether you want it on your list or not. Really, that's the.
Yeah, I mean, either way, so the only one I've ever seen was the Elvis at Ipswich, which was ringed. So this is definitely not that bird. So yeah, cracking bird anyway. And that's Paul Chamberlain took that picture.
Nice.
Alison, so thanks for sending that into the website, Paul. Then
I was going to say that I know Steve Entwistle on Mersey is very keen to get that on his British list. So,
but to be fair, I think he's trying to get a plastic duck onto his list as well. So I think he's quite desperate to become the number one birder in Essex in terms of what he's seen. So if plastic duck's going on his list, I don't think he's allowed hooded merganser, to be fair. No, I think it's a good bird. It's a good bird. It's a cracking looking bird, isn't it? What a great thing. Yeah, lovely. On the 11th of May, Osprey flew over Richard Allen's garden. Now, you might think that that's a brilliant sighting, but don't forget Richard's used to white-tailed eagles flying over his garden, so he was probably a little bit disappointed with an osprey, but I'd be absolutely made up if an osprey flew over my little garden. 12th of May at Fingering-Hoe, a couple of little terns were spotted. Talking of spotted, there were spotted flycatchers at the Naze on the 13th of May. There were 7 birds seen, which is good. And we've got a picture of one of them, and this is Brian Combs took this. I love the colour of the sky there. Such cool little birds. On the 14th of May, Brian Combs also found a couple of curlew sandpipers down at the Maze. Ring ouzels have been seen at various locations. Obviously, I had one at Ardley. There's been a couple of birds seen at the Naze, birds seen at Holland Haven as well. And this particular bird was very what's the word? It allowed people to get fairly close. It was quite confiding, I think is the word I'm looking for. And Jeff Biddle managed to take this lovely shot as it was just moseying around and looking for a bit of food. Raven was seen on the 15th of May by Andrew Goody flying over Friday Woods, which is a pretty good sighting for Colchester. Pomerine Skier again, Lawrence Drummond on the 15th of May at the Naze. And then the spoonbills are back at Abberton. So there's a couple of spoonbills knocking around at Abberton. One of them's got a bit of black in the wing, so it's obviously a young bird. This is a photograph uploaded to the site by Michael Davis. So thanks very much for your photos, Michael. And it looks like they might be thinking about going back into the heronry again. I don't know. So watch this space. It could be something to keep an eye on. And there's also, there's great white egrets at Abberton at the moment in breeding plumage. So again, we're not likely to be able to see whether they're breeding because they'll be breeding way off in the distance somewhere. But if anyone's watching Abberton and you know, it's worth keeping an eye out for young looking great white egrets because that could be a really good record. 22nd of May, red rump swallow, just a couple of days ago. Paul Brayshaw had one over the Greenswood at Frinton. And then, of course, we had the wind chats at the Naze, Holland Haven, there's been wind chat, and there's been wind chats at various other locations as well. And again, another lovely picture from Brian here. Really, really great little picture, thank you. But I think Daryl Steyer has stolen the end of the month, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, for those who know, well, Daryl Steyer, he birds the Naze pretty much every day from dawn till dusk. I mean, the man's just, he's a phenomenal birder, you know, and, you know, it goes to show if you put the time in, the rewards will come. So, yeah, what did he see then, Matt?
Well, he has seen, what's he had? So on the 24th of May, I think in the same evening, he had Golden Oriole, he had Bee Eater, and he had Common Rosefinch, a male Common Rosefinch singing. So to have those three birds in one evening would be brilliant. A couple of them would be lifers for me, actually. I've never seen Bee Eater or the Golden Oriole, so I'd be really thrilled with an evening like that. But I think he stole the month, didn't he? So bird of the month, really. On the 12th of May, there was a fantastic bird dropped into the Naze. It was only there for about an hour and a half, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And unfortunately, neither of us were able to get down there, and so we haven't got any pictures of this particular bird. But Mr. Grimwade has been to Spain and Portugal and seen them in their normal habitat. And I'm just about to pop it on the screen. Here we go. This little chappie. So what's this?
So it's a cracking male blue rock thrush. Do you know, I could have pretended that it was at the Naze, couldn't I? I had seen it.
The cat's out of the bag now, sorry.
That's true, you're right. No, it's an incredibly rare bird, maybe like the 5th record for the UK. Certainly, you know, single figures of records in the UK, and it's a first record for Essex. So absolutely cracking find, Daryl. Yeah, shame. I think only about 6 people saw it, didn't they, Matt?
I think so, yeah. There was only just a handful of people there at the time. I did go down to try and see it, but it had already gone by the time I got there. But I bumped into Daryl, and he said he'd been at the Naze, just to give you guys an indication as to how dedicated he is. He'd been at the Naze since, I think he said 5 o'clock that morning. And I bumped into him at probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon. So he'd been there for 11 hours solid. And he was on his way back. He does a circuit, and I think he was on his way back towards his car. And he was at the bottom of the cliffs, and he just happened to have a quick scan of the cliffs. And he said this blue thing just flew through his binoculars. Wow. And, you know, straight away he thought, what on earth was that? And he managed to get onto it. And instantly he thought that can only be one thing, but surely not. And he said he got onto it, and obviously, you know, it took him a couple of seconds for his brain to actually process that I am actually seeing what I'm seeing. And he said, yeah, I mean, he's found some brilliant birds, but he said that he thinks that's the best bird he's ever found. It's this cracking bird, brilliant bird, a fantastic Essex record. So although we haven't got a picture of Daryl's birds, it is definitely got to be the bird of the month, hasn't it, I think?
Yeah, it's probably going to be bird of the year. I'd be, well, you never know. There's still lots of time to come, but yeah, it's a cracking find.
It's going to take a lot of beating, definitely.
That's definitely our bird of the month for May. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Do you want to hear a nightingale? Have we got any feedback?
So yeah, we've got Mel Shepherd Wells says, at least Matt, an excellent soundtrack to accompany the photographic competition.
Oh, good.
There was a hoopoo reported, as Richard Chew said, a hoopoo was also reported in the Southend Garden.
Oh, okay.
And the black guillemot was reported on the 21st of May, but not since. And then what else we've got? Mel again says there was a pair of black-necked grebes just one day stayers at Rye Meads in Hertfordshire.
Nice.
So they're obviously moving about a little bit at the moment. And John Peacock said there was a hooded merganser that was rescued in a shopping centre in Ipswich. Could it be that bird? But I think that was the one that had the ring on, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the story with the Ipswich bird, so the Ipswich bird, which they nicknamed Elvis, was an escapee. And I think on Valentine's Day, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe, they introduced a female bird into the Christchurch Park where Elvis had been hanging out in the hopes that they were going to get some hooded merganser love going. And by all intents and purposes, I think the female bird went off somewhere else, didn't it? It disappeared out towards Hollesley or somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it turned up. Yeah, and Elvis stayed in Ipswich, so they obviously didn't really get on. But I don't know which one was found in the shopping centre, whether it was the female or the male. But yeah, almost certainly going to be one of the two, definitely. And Tim Hayward has said that they weren't feeding the gannets on the boat that he was on, but he said you've got to book the boat well in advance if you're going to go to Bempton. It is very, very popular. So I think whether they feed them or not, it would be a brilliant experience to be able to see everything from that angle, definitely. Do you want to hear a nightingale?
Yes, please.
Hey. Right, so as I said, John Ward, who's one of the Friends of the Society, he's a very keen birder and always out and about with his camera. And he posts some really great pictures and stuff on his Twitter feed. And he said that we can nick something. So I did, and I can't find it. Hang on a second. Where are we? Here we go. So hopefully if this works, this will be can you see that?
Yep.
Cool. So if I press play, and if people put their volume up, for anyone that hasn't heard a nightingale singing yet this year, here we go. You've got 44 seconds of nightingale joy.
That's fabulous.
A little bit of spring in your lounge on a Thursday evening at 9:30.
That is really nice. Yeah, really nice. Fantastic video there, John. Well done. That's brilliant.
To be fair, I'm actually quite impressed because I've seen his camera. It's quite a big camera, and obviously he was hand holding that. So for him to hand hold it and keep it that steady.
I was thinking that because he came out with me to Lakenheath yesterday, and yeah, like you say, he's got a whopping great lens. Bad enough getting static shots, never mind video. So great. He's obviously the joy of having a young hand. You see, I'd be like,
yeah, I'd probably drop it. Oh, brilliant. Right, okay, so we're almost there. Shall we do the results of the photo competition?
Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, let's do that then. Yep, because we're
let's get it over and done with. You were going to say.
No, I was just going to say we've been going an hour and a half tonight, and we're quite keen to.
Yeah, we're nearly there. Yeah, been good. Right, okay. So these are the 4 finalists in reverse order, and it was very, very, very close. But in 4th place,
drum roll,
bring it up. Hang on a minute. Was this lovely nuthatch from Paul Chamberlain. So congratulations, Paul, for making the final. And I think it's got a Cadbury. That's Cadbury's flake, isn't it?
Yes, well, it looks like a Cadbury's flake. Not that I've had one for years, but
I can't think what else it could be. So to me, those little stubby ones, they're normally the ones they like put in the top of hot chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, I presume it's just a piece of bulk, but it's
I don't know. It just looks like a Cadbury's flake if you actually look at it. The shape of the end of it.
Cadbury's want to send us some flakes. We'll be more than happy to promote them.
That's a brilliant idea. If they can send us a box of flakes each, and we will dissect them and compare them and we can then verify next month whether it is in fact Cadbury's flake or not. But no, you might be right. It might just be a chunk of bark that looks a bit like Cadbury's flake, but it does look like Cadbury's flake to me. That's hilarious. Lovely picture. Third place, Derek Howes with this absolutely gorgeous great tit on a bit of rusty old barbed wire. I presume that's sheep's wool, I would imagine.
Yeah,
sheep's probably been, you know, scratching itself or caught itself on the barbed wire, and the great tit's collecting the sheep's wool for nesting material. And I just love that picture. I think it's a really nice picture, lovely picture. So third place, congratulations, Derek. And in second place, almost dominating the podium, this is another picture from Derek. So don't forget, you're only allowed to send in 3 pictures each, and 2 of Derek's made the final. So that's really, really good work. Well done. And this is the chaffinch and goldfinch having a bit of a Barney. Yeah, and again, the colours, beautiful, aren't they?
Be interesting to know whether Derek uses Olympus, because I know Olympus has got this pro capture sort of mode on the camera for birds in flight like this. So, I mean, that is just stunning shot. I mean,
yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. But in first place, just sneaking into first by 2 votes, I think it was.
Oh, tight.
Was this absolutely lovely little wren from David Saville. So if David's watching, congratulations. Really, really beautiful shot. The wren's obviously in full flow. You can see right into its yellowy orange beak, and it's the tail that does it for me.
That's a cracking shot.
Tiny little cocktail. The attitude on that picture absolutely sums up a wren, doesn't it?
Yep. It's full of attitude, isn't it? It's just like,
yeah.
That is so good.
Great shot. So I'm going to be in touch with David. We'll send an email, find out where you are, and give us a week or 2 to get your picture done and framed. And then if you're not too far away, I'll come and deliver it for you. And if you're miles away, Steve will come and drop it off for you.
No, well, and thanks to all those people that have contributed to the season photographic competition, because it's been a very difficult choice. I mean Matt has to do all the workings out for like the votes.
Just to show people, so you can see it's not all made up. But basically, without going into too much detail, we have all the photos. There's 4 of us that choose our favourites. I then give them all points and work out the top 16, and then they're put into semi-finals and quarter-finals and finals, and do all the adding up and keep that. So yeah, and Steve does all the Facebook stuff, and we put it on the website. And the main thing is, thanks for everyone for sending the pictures in, and thanks for everyone for voting. It's a bit of fun, and it's good. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. And Derek just came back to say it's Canon he uses.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's good. So yeah,
fantastic.
So yeah, that's really interesting, because
I'm
thinking about new Canon stuff. So that's really good to know.
maybe you'll have to bang heads together and find out what he's got. And yeah.
There's a lot of mirrorless people use nowadays. So
I think they've got all sorts of modes on them, haven't they, to capture things. And
they focus on birds' eyes and stuff now. I mean, certainly the R5 and R6 are really good, and they've just announced an R7 for later this year. So
wow.
What have we got? So a few bits of feedback. Jonathan Pierce says great program. So thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And then John Peacock says congratulations to David, the winner, and all who took part in the competition. So well done. Yeah, really good. So that's the competition. So
David Saville. David Saville's actually just said thanks. Having seen all the others in the interval, can't believe I won.
Oh, there you go. It was probably that 10 quid in the envelope that did it, Matt, wasn't it? I mean, sorry.
To be fair, if it was a bribe, I'd have gone for the flaky nuthatch, wouldn't I? Because I'd have had that little bit of Cadbury's flake off it in no time at all. So. Right, membership. Tell people how to join the site, or the society even.
Absolutely. So if we hope that everyone's watching this is a member of the society. But if you're not, I know we do this every month, but it's fabulous value. It's £16. You get a copy of the Essex Bird Report, which is the Bible for all things birds in Essex for the year, full of tables, graphs, everything that's been seen, and some really good accounts of breeding numbers and wintering and all that sort of stuff. And also you get 2 copies of Essex Birding magazine, which comes out every 6 months. It's full of local birding articles. There's stuff from further afield. There's Southern Arizona, good choice. Tasmania, there you go. But there's lots of reports from around the county. There's reports on all our field trips and evening talks that we do. Yeah, so you get 2 copies of that a year. You also get a fixture card. So we do monthly coach trips, and there you go. This is almost professional. Yeah, so it's got our evening talks that some are on Zoom, some are in the hall in Chelmsford, and then some are coach trips and some are self-drive car trips. So there's something for everyone, and it's just £16, and it's a bargain, absolute bargain. So please join. And as Matt, God, this is almost seamless. This is, go on our website, ebws.org.uk, and then click on the membership button. It will tell you how to join, and you can actually join online. You just fill in the form and you can pay using PayPal. Simple, really simple. And I say £16 a year for adults and £4 a year for junior members. So yeah.
To be fair, if you were going to buy these, well, it's about 20 quid's worth, isn't it? I think.
Quid's worth. So it's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
If you're remotely interested in these, just join the society and you instantly save £4 and you get to join in with all the other stuff we do as well. The other thing is, if you want to be kept up to date of all the bits and bobs that we do on the society, things like this and field trips and so on, as Steve was saying, you can now, if I can bring it up again, right down the bottom of the homepage. I hope this works. There we go. Can you see that? Yep. So there's a subscribe bit in here. All you got to do, you haven't got to be a member to do this. Just put your email address in. If you want to put your first and last name in, you can. You don't have to even do that. But email, hit subscribe, and then you're going to join our MailChimp mailing list, and all of the reminders for field trips and talks and Birds of Essex and Big County Birdwatch and all the other things that we do, they'll be emailed to you, so you're kept abreast of everything that's going on.
And talking of subscriptions and joining the society, we just had a message from Pete Dwyer, our membership secretary, who does a cracking job. He said, can you, for those members, can you please check that you've paid your 2022 subscriptions? It's always due in January, but you know, people obviously been busy and stuff, so maybe it slipped by. But yeah, can you please check if you've not paid? Please, can you pay?
Yeah, because you just won't get these things through the door, and then you'll wonder where they are. So yeah, please do that. That's a good point. What are we looking forward to next month?
Well, we're back again next month. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, there's still, we're still end of May, so there's still spring birds to arrive. Like I said, more turtle doves still to come. There's still a good chance of rare eastern stuff turning up if the winds are good. So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, what are you got any plans for the next few weeks?
Yeah, or? I'm looking forward to Lake and Heath. Obviously, the field trip at the end of June on Sunday the 26th. Again, don't forget to book your coach seat if you haven't done so already. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Top Gun.
Yeah, that's all I can say is So yeah, for those who don't know, Matt and I are great Top Gun fans, and we'd hatched a plan to Matt's other half, Tina, and my wife Annette, all 4 of us were gonna go and see Top Gun, but my schedule is just like crazy at the moment, and I'm very lucky that I'm going away working, but I'm quite gutted that I'm going to miss Top Gun. So Matt's going to, apart from going to see the Albatross on his own, he's going to go and see Top Gun on his own.
And I've actually been told if I shaved the beard, lost about 7 stone, had some major plastic surgery and got my teeth fixed, I'd be a spitting image for Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know what to say, really.
That's going to take about 20 grand and a bit of imagination, I think, isn't it?
Get one of those face mask things.
Yeah, that would be the better chance, yeah.
Or just put some aviators on. A flying helmet.
Yeah, the cat. Yeah, but a crash helmet probably.
Mask on the front with a visor. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to going and seeing it. But bird-wise, obviously, late spring migrants still coming through. Turtle doves still hopefully coming through. I still haven't heard a cuckoo at Ardley, so I'd love to hear a cuckoo at Ardley. That'd be nice. And yeah, who knows what's going to turn up? This blue rock thrush has got to be somewhere. So Maybe it'll be in my garden tomorrow morning. I don't know, but it's worth keeping an eye out. That it just proves that wherever you are, anything can turn up at any time, and even if it doesn't, you can still have really good fun watching the things that you're seeing anyway. But it's always nice when you're watching a gannet and an albatross flies into view.
Yeah, you're pushing it a little bit too much now, mate. But yes,
right, cool. We've got Ron Colson said, brilliant show, Matt and Steve. Ron Furman, thanks for the show. So thanks everyone for all the nice feedback. Richard Chew as well. Mo Jackson, Top Gun is on in Clacton now.
Right, I'm off.
now I can get there in 20 minutes.
Unfortunately, I'm off to Shetland at the weekend on Saturday for a week, and then I'm back home for like one day. Then I go to Finland, so time is really tight for me. And I suspect by the time I get back, it'll be over.
Better watch it on a plane, maybe. If I don't, well, the flights won't be long enough, will they?
Probably not long enough. I don't think Finnair have videos. So
okay. Pete Dwyer said I need to get an avatar like ABBA, so that's probably my best chance of looking like Tom Cruise. Okay, that's fair enough. Derek Allen said really enjoyed the talk and banter, and well done, Dave. Yes, so well done. Again, brilliant picture. All the pictures were brilliant, but someone had to win, and that little wren was definitely a worthy winner. Date of next Birds of Essex. That's an excellent question.
That's a really good question because
I don't know. It all depends on you, really, Steve.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be in June. I mean, that's I've got a bit of paper here somewhere. I thought I wrote it down, but no, I've got a funny feeling it's sort of mid June.
It will be on the website. Don't know.
I thought I've got a bit of paper here where I wrote the dates on, the potential dates, but I can't find it.
It's going to be somewhere between the 13th and the 30th, probably.
Yeah, no, I think it's about mid. Yeah, 20th or no, it can't be. Yeah,
well, 23rd is a Thursday. 23rd is a Thursday.
About the 20th or something like that, as a rough guess. But we will put it out on Twitter, Facebook. Matt will do the MailChimp, so we'll let everyone know well in advance.
Yeah, we'll pop on the website as well. So if you want to be kept aware, just subscribe to the MailChimp from the website, and you'll get the MailChimp. And it'll either be a week before or 2 or 3 days before, but you'll get it beforehand.
Yeah. So
good.
John Peacock's just come in. Thanks for another great show. Looking forward to getting out and about and finding more birds I haven't seen before, which, yeah, that's a great attitude to have. That is just get out and about. Then getting out in the outdoors is just fantastic. It's good for your mental health, just good all round. So what a great hobby. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. And, in all seriousness, I 100% agree. I'm absolutely happy to go round the corner and see the birds that I see every single day, because they're always behaving differently or doing something, or you'll get a call or a song that you think, oh, what's that? And you have to remind yourself what it is. And then, like you say, something might turn up. So, good luck.
Yep. So, good luck, everybody. Keep, let us know what you see by putting your sightings on the Birdwatching Society website.
Yep. And obviously next month, Steve's going to have a new presenter because he's going to kill me. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks very much. It's been emotional. And I hope Steve finds a partner next month that can do a good job with him. To
be fair, you're lucky that I'm very encouraging of other people's sightings. I don't get that jealous. So, no, you're all right.
No.
I'll keep you on for another month.
Thanks, mate.
On probation, all right? So...
Lovely.
I had a bit of red. I'll give you a yellow card.
Yellow card, yeah. If I do that again, I'm off. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, and look after yourselves and stay safe.
And John's quickly just put a note on there. You just got the BirdNet app to identify bird calls. Okay.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's so many apps now for for photos and for calls as well. And they can be really useful. So, yeah, well done. Good.
Let us know how you get on with that, John, for next month. That would be really good.
And don't forget the caption competition, the giraffe picture. We want to know what you think that should say. And come to Lakenheath. The coach is filling up, but book your place. And if the coach does get full, you can still drive there and meet us there. So, yeah, brilliant. Right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. See you later. Take care.
Take it easy. Night.
Bye.